So you will only want really stallions in your team. You have to get rid of the donkeys. Sanctioned incompetence is one of the enemies of unity. If you allow donkeys to stay, the stallions will say, how come this leader, our leader, is allowing sanctioned incompetence in our team? If they're just doing the bare minimum, maybe I should just do the bare minimum. Hey guys, welcome back to the Leadership Stack podcast. It's your host, Sean C, aka Mr. CEO at 22, and today we are going to be talking about quiet quitting. What's quiet quitting? Why is it so important to learn about this today? Is it becoming a byword? Is it becoming a trend? We're going to be discussing that. But before we do, if you're new here, please don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and hit that bell notification icon so that when we have new things published, you will be the first to know. So I was listening to Patrick Lencioni's podcast earlier, and you can find that in Spotify. I love his stuff. I've read a lot of his books, and he mentions in this podcast episode, which is just a 15-minute podcast episode, about quiet quitting. And I played that episode wondering what it was, and it turns out quiet quitting is something that a lot of publishers today write about. And he wasn't so happy about it. When I learned what it was, I wasn't so happy about it, because quiet quitting is basically just quitting, but you're still getting paid by the company. So you're not resigned, you're not fired, you're just there at work doing the bare minimum. Patrick Lencioni tells the story of this guy named Jeff, and he asks Jeff, hey Jeff, what have you been doing? Because we don't feel your output. We don't see anything that you're producing right now. And Jeff tells Patrick Lencioni, well, you know, Pat, for 3 years, I've worked hard. 3 years, I've worked hard. And right now, I'm just harvesting the results of my work. So I'm just laid back, waiting for the company to fire me, or waiting for them to ask me to resign, or waiting for myself to resign. I don't know what he's thinking, but he says, I'm just waiting and just harvesting my results and just getting paid for it. Long story short, quiet quitting is about doing just the bare minimum at your work. And see, there's a problem with that because the market is very, very competitive. If you're in the tech space like I am, you will know tech moves so fast, it's so disruptive, and it's super duper competitive. I'm in the business of SEO. There's only 10 spots in Google, 10 honors, that's it. You either rank up or rank down. And when you're not on the first page of Google, no one really cares about you because no one goes to the second page anymore. This competition demands excellence. We have to be excellent. And if there is someone who is just doing the bare minimum in an organization, that person is not helping that company to be excellent. The marketplace, the business world demands excellence. And when they demand excellence, that means every person inside an organization has to produce excellent results, as if their life depended on it. We are all called for work. 1/3 of our lives, we spend it at work. Someday, when we meet our maker, do you want to say, you know, I did the bare minimum. You gave me all of these talents, this life, you gave me good health for the most part, and for 1/3 of my life, which is work, I just did the bare minimum. What do you think our maker will say when he hears that? Probably not very good for you or for me, if that is how we do work. So if the market demands excellence, we have to be excellent. We have a core value in SEO Hacker, and that core value is unity. And in order to have a very good, well-united team, you have to watch out for people who are just doing the bare minimum. Because largely, that will be seen as incompetence by your excellent players. Right? We have this very good illustration from Dave Ramsey, and he says, there are two kinds of people in the workplace. There are stallions and there are donkeys. What donkeys do is they form a circle, they face the threat, and with their hind legs, they kick each other to death. Donkeys will kick each other to death. They're noisy, they gossip. They're lazy, they do the bare minimum. The second kind of people, they're the stallions. The stallions, they run fast, they run hard, And when faced with a threat, a group of stallions will face each other and kick the threat to death. You have stallions, and hopefully not, but you might have some donkeys in your team. They don't get along so well because stallions think that donkeys are noisy. Stallions think that donkeys are lazy, and vice versa. The donkeys think that the stallions make them look bad. So they're noisy, they gossip around. For you to be able to have a very good united team, you have to have just one of a kind. You either have stallions or donkeys, and that's it. And donkeys are not very good with unity either. So you will only want really stallions in your team. You have to get rid of the donkeys. Sanctioned incompetence is one of the enemies of unity. If you allow donkeys to stay, the stallions will say, how come this leader, our leader, is allowing sanctioned incompetence in our team? If they're just doing the bare minimum, maybe I should just do the bare minimum. But because they're stallions, they're not gonna wanna. So what happens is, they're gonna move to another place and you're going to be losing your stallions. And that's bad for your company, that's bad for business. Going back to that illustration of Patrick Lencioni and Jeff. Jeff was harvesting. He was just, in his mind, reaping the harvest of 3 years of hard work. But we have a saying, yesterday's home runs don't win today's games. What happened yesterday, whether you worked hard, whether it was excellent, that's yesterday. That helped make today, but if you don't work today, what's your tomorrow going to be? There's also a saying that yesterday is history, the future is a mystery, but today is a gift. That's why it's called the present. What are you doing with this gift? Are you squandering it? Are you wasting it? We have 24 hours a day. That's around 83,000 seconds. If you think about it, that's a lot of time that we are given by our Maker every day. Quiet quitting is one of the most horrible things that you can do or that you can allow one of your people to do in a company or in an organization. Think about it. If you are working for the President of the United States and you work directly for the President, for example, how would you perform? Would you perform excellently? Or would you perform like a quiet quitter? You're working for your president. How would you perform? I would bet that if you work for the president, you would give your best and your all because you know you're working for the big guy. We all work for the biggest guy. The Bible says, whether you eat or drink or work, you do it for God, not for human masters. That means something. You produce your best work every day because you know nothing that you do for the Lord is ever useless. Now, let's say, for example, maybe you're in that situation where you have a quiet quitter or you have a person who is just mediocre. You know, they're in harvest mode. What do you need to do? Well, first, I would suggest you assess. You assess yourself as the leader. Did you engage this person? Do you even know their name? Do you know what's happening in their lives? Did you equip this person? Do they have everything they need to perform their work well? Did you remove all the obstacles that may be hindering this person from doing his or her best work? And lastly, did you explain to this person how to succeed in his or her job? If there are no measurements, if there are no rules for success or failure, clear-cut rules, then it may be your fault why they're being quiet quitters, why they're being harvesters and just doing the bare minimum. But if you've provided all of these things, you know them, you know what's happening with them, they're engaged, you remove all obstacles and you equip them for the work so that they can perform excellently, you've explained clearly to them what success looks like, what failure looks like, then I suggest you help them not to quietly quit, but to quit altogether. Get rid of them, fire them. That would be the best, not just for you, but for every stallion you have in your organization. Now, my challenge for you is to assess. Look at your team or look at yourself if you're an individual working in an organization. Are you sometimes, in some days, a quiet quitter? Or do you do the best work you possibly can? Because today is a gift and that's given to you for free, but it doesn't mean that this gift is cheap. Every day that you're alive and healthy, that is a blessing. Thank you so much, and I hope you learned something new today. I hope this has provided value for you, and I will see you in the next episode.